so many programs out there that lots of people are confused. They don't know which one to select because there are so many to choose from, and based on their training experience, there's a lot of conflicting information. So in this video today, I want to give you a quick guide. I'm going to talk about the beginner, intermediate, and advanced, giving you the programs that I would personally recommend for each of those categories. Now, in the description box down below, there will be an article which is associated with this video, which discusses all the levels. So if you want to read instead of watch this entire video, or if you just want to skip to the portions that are applicable to you, please check out the article. Now, that being said, let's get started. For beginners, there's only 3 programs that I would personally recommend. The first would be Starting Strength. Starting Strength is a fantastic program for all athletes that are starting out. It's going to give you that beginner strength. It's a very simple program, 3x5s, using very minimal exercise selection, very low volume, easy to recover from. I would do this type of program if you're just a starting athlete and you just want a nice base. The second program I'd recommend is Jason Blaha's Novice 5x5. It's a maximum hypertrophy program. You will get as big as possible. Now, it's very hard on volume, so you might want to consider that. It takes a long time to complete the workout. It's very rough on your body, very rough on recovery. So you need to be eating a lot, you need to be sleeping a lot. But nonetheless, it's probably one of the best programs out there. It will give you maximum strength, maximum hypertrophy. Very, very good program. This is what I'd recommend for you bodybuilder type of guys. And then the third program that I would recommend is my own personal novice program. I used to charge people money for it, but now it's free on my site, outalpha.com. I'll provide a link in the description box down below, but essentially it's a general strength and conditioning program designed for recreational lifters. There's no athletic purpose there. It's not for bodybuilders or power lifters. It's just to get generally strong, which will allow you to be strong in a lot of important lifts while being big to show for it. So it's a good program for recreational lifters. If you're not a guy who wants to live in the gym and shit like that, I check out my novice program. Now, in terms of intermediate programs, there's a lot more selection, okay? There's a lot that you could do. And some of them, they're going to be both intermediate and advanced, but I'll make sure that you understand the distinction between the two. The first programs that I'd personally recommend is either the Texas Method or madcowx 5x5. In my opinion, these are probably the best intermediate programs you could find. It still follows a linear type of model. You're making gains on a weekly basis rather from a workout to workout basis, but it really milks out those last couple gains. Like a Texas Method program will take you from a 315 for 5 squat to a 405 times 5. And after that, you probably won't make any gains whatsoever. But it really milks it for what it's worth. And in terms of which one to pick, because the Texas Method and madcowx 5x5 are very similar, I would go with what you feel is more appropriate for you. For instance, I like the Texas Method better because of the higher volumes and because of the fact that it doesn't include ramping sets. madcowx, on the other hand, I believe it's a bit lower in volume and it's a lot of ramping sets. So pyramid training type of shit. So you need to assess what works for you, what you prefer, you know. For me personally, I'm a straight sets type of guy. I like hitting that weight over and over again, you know. On the other hand, my buddy Alex Duckfeet, he preferred madcowx. So find out what works for you, but they're very similar programs. They should give you pretty much the same results. The second program that I would recommend, which is also, it could be an intermediate and advanced program, is my program, the Alpha Body. I wrote a book on the Alpha Body. It's a full body concurrent training system, very unique. It gives you the bench pressing strength of a powerlifter, overhead pressing strength of a strongman, leg strength of a field athlete, relative strength of a gymnast, and aesthetics of an old school bodybuilder. It's designed for recreational lifters. It's not for power lifters or any particular audience. It's just designed to get you generally strong and generally big. So it follows the same type of principles as my novice program. If you like my novice program, you'll like the Alpha Body. But then again, if you're competing in a certain sport, I would not recommend it. Just putting it up there. You'll need a more specific program for that. Which brings me to my next program, the third program of the intermediate section, the Westside Barbell program, the Westside Barbell Book of Methods. I highly recommend you get the book. It's a very knowledgeable book. It includes lots of information specifically pertaining to the max effort method, the dynamic effort method, the utilization of accommodating resistance, and a bunch of other stuff. It's very good for all athletes. Okay, whether you're a field athlete, you know, you're a strength athlete, whatever you could do. You could use the Westside method for strongman, powerlifting, hockey, football, baseball, anything you want. It's extremely, extremely specific to your sport, depending on how you structure the exercises. It ensures that no muscle weaknesses are developed. It focuses on general physical preparedness, manages recovery very well. You could train year-round. You rotate exercises to prevent accommodation. Very solid program, backed up by exercise science, physics, all that type of stuff. Highly recommend this program, depending if you're an athlete, okay? The next program I'd recommend is Dan Green's BBSM. If you're more of a guy who likes to pick similar exercises, you don't like rotating too much like the Westside philosophy, and you want a good qualified program for raw powerlifters, I'd recommend Dan Green's BBSM. It's kind of like a 5-day bro split that you'd see in a bodybuilding magazine, except it's very specific to powerlifting. So instead of having muscle groups, you'll have movement days. So for instance, you'll have 2 squat days, maybe one being a back squat and the other one being a front squat, and you'll have a deadlift day. Okay, and then you'll also have a bench press day and an overhead press day. So it's set up like a bro split. It's 5 days a week, but it's all revolved around powerlifting. So for those of you guys who may have done bodybuilding in the past and now you're transitioning to powerlifting and you still like that format of that 5-day split and you want to get mad strong, this is what I'd recommend for you. And it's worked very successfully for a lot of guys, both the drug-free and the enhanced. You can see Brandon Campbell's transformation on his YouTube page. He discusses the entire pros and cons and his experience with the Dan Green BBSM program. But it's very good. Highly recommend if you like that linear type of stuff and you like that bodybuilding type of format. The final program that I recommend for intermediate lifters is the HST training. HST training, I'd only recommend it for bodybuilders. Do not follow this program if you want to become very strong. Use it if you want maximum hypertrophy. You know, it follows a lot of principles from exercise science. It can be a bit complicated to understand, but nonetheless, you don't need to understand the science. You just got to do the workouts. It will get you big. It won't get you very strong, but it'll get you big. So for all you Vince G type of guys, if you know what I'm referring to, run this program. You'll get big. Now, programs that I classify as exclusively advanced, I can only really think of 3. All right, I think of Smolov because Smolov is very high frequency. I'd also think of the Bulgarian method, and I'd also think of sheiko or sheiko. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it, but they're all high frequency programs. They're all very intense on your body. I mean, it's very specific. You know, you could still run the intermediate programs that I mentioned earlier, like the Westside method and the Dan Green and the Alpha Body and all that shit. Most of them could classify as advanced, but if you're looking for something that I would strictly categorize as advanced, I'd recommend one of these 3 programs. I can't really explain the whole science behind these programs or the whole explanations of these programs because they're very, very complicated. You might have to do your own research, but Smolov, Bulgarian method, sheiko, those 3 programs should give you very good results as an advanced lifter. And if you like high frequency training, if you like living in the gym, being in the gym very frequently, and you've reached a point in your life where the gym's going to be very important, then I would consider those options. So you need to assess what's relevant for you. But nonetheless, guys, I hope this video has been informative. I hope you learned about beginner, intermediate, and advanced programs. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure that I answer them.